was an abrupt ending. Good afternoon, friends. Welcome in. Welcome in. Y'all give me a sound check. Let me know you can hear me out there in the YouTube streets. Everything appears to be working okay. Y'all come on in and get comfy. We got some things to discuss today. Welcome into my mod team. I could not do this without you guys. I don't shout them out enough, and my goodness, they deserve it. You guys bring me so much support, and I so appreciate it. Welcome in, Tricia. Good to see you. Good morning, Dolphin. We'll see if we get any more peeps in. Can y'all hear me? Yep, great. Thank you, Forrest. Thank you, thank you. Thanks, Butterfly and Rach. Um, Butterfly might be in and out for a little bit. She's got something to do, but she'll be listening in as much as she can. Thanks, Tricia. All right, guys. I didn't go live yesterday. I had things going on, but I was also collecting information on 3 different cases, and Butterfly was helping me. It was like a lot. We spent a couple of hours doing stuff, but I didn't go live, but I'm here today, and we're going to discuss the Tepe murders investigation today. I've got a 175-page court document filed in the Gilgo Beach case against Rex Heuermann to dive into, and I'm going to do that on a separate show. So we're going to get to that. Also, one more thing I did want to come out and talk about, but I won't do it today during this show. I'll make it a separate show, either maybe tomorrow's show. But the Timothy Busfield arrest, guys, there's a lot going on with that, and it's time to put a stop to all this madness. Like, there was just, my brain got a little overwhelmed at some point yesterday. I was like, man, what are people doing out here? But we know people gonna be people, right? We're going to start off this morning by watching the press conference that happened this morning, and then we'll take a look at a couple of other things as well and have some discussions based around this stuff. So when they did the press conference this morning, and she said, we had a NIBIN hit, I stopped, and I was like, what did she just say? I rewound it and listened to it again. We had a NIBIN hit. Are you telling me that the bullet recovered from the Tepe murder scene is tied to a bullet from another crime somewhere? Because that's usually a NIBIN hit. They don't usually test fire. They do test fire guns. I've got a whole video, right? I had to do my research. I'm like, I got to know more. Was it just they test fired one of the weapons recovered and that matched the bullet they recovered? Because that's usually done like at state crime labs and such. But who knows? We'll talk about it. See what you guys think as well. But they apparently recovered several weapons from his home, and one of those ties back through a NIBIN hit to the crime scene. Super interesting to me. All right, let me get ready to pull that up for you guys. Everything should work okay. I gave it a test run earlier, and it seemed to be cooperating. So if it doesn't cooperate, I apologize ahead of time. But I reviewed something late last night in the middle of the night because I got woke up, couldn't go back to sleep. So I reviewed something that happened to be on my feed, and it was old, and I reviewed it, and I was like, man, oh man. Let me just state it one more time. We don't claim to be professional media around here. We're just armchair media people. Brian Rambles. Oh, welcome in. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, he was I posted on my community tab like 3 days ago that it appears McKee was involved in a lawsuit out of Las Vegas, Nevada, a malpractice suit. But we had limited information. So now we have a little bit more information, right? So it definitely was him, because people were like, that's not him. That's the wrong Michael McKee. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, but whatever. I didn't have enough information, right? But so we still don't have a whole lot, but we do have a little more. 1 second, guys. 1 second. I gotta check something super quick. Okay, never mind. I see my, never mind. Gotcha. I don't even have to say it. Thank you. All right, let's pull this up. Thank you, mods. That's why. Super amazing. All right, let's get this pulled up and let's watch this. Now, this was from this morning's little press conference update. All right, here we go. Oops, let me get rid of all the. Here we go.
4th Street on a well-being check. Officers arrived at scene and located the 2 adult victims suffering from apparent gunshot wounds. We now know that they were identified as Mr. Spencer Tepe and Mrs. Monique Tepe. Their 2 small children were also found in the residence physically unharmed. On January 10th, 2026, detectives filed warrants charging Michael D. McKee, 39, with 2 counts of murder in the deaths of Spencer and Monique Tepe. Mr. McKee was arrested in Rockford, Illinois without incident. He's currently incarcerated in the Winnebago County Jail and awaiting extradition to Columbus. We believe at this point we have the person responsible for the murders of Monique and Spencer Tepe in custody, and that person is Michael McKee. This is still an active and ongoing investigation. Detectives are still going through evidence, tips, and videos. We can't speak to all the specific details related to this case, so we don't want to jeopardize the ultimate goal of conviction. But what we can say, this was a targeted attack. This was a domestic violence related attack. As we know, McKee is the ex-husband of Monique Tepe. We can say that we have the suspect's vehicle on neighborhood video surveillance arriving just before the murders and leaving shortly after. Detectives were able to link this vehicle to McKee. The vehicle was located in Rockford, Illinois, and evidence was found that showed McKee in possession of the vehicle before and after the homicides. We can also say that multiple weapons were taken from the property of McKee, and there is a preliminary link from our NIBIN to one of the weapons that ties it to the homicides. I want to say that our detectives work around the clock to be able to solve this case, but it's equally important to know that while this is gaining national attention, we work around the clock to solve all of our homicide cases. I'd like to bring the mayor up now to have him say a few words.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you all for joining us this morning. I want to thank Chief Bryant, the women and men of the Homicide Division who have done an incredible job on this case and so many other cases, 100 cases solved in 2025 because of their tireless work and professionalism and tips and information from the community that helped us achieve such incredible solve rates. I want to thank also members of the press for sharing timely information, including the video footage of the person of interest that we know now is Mr. McKee. Members of the community for supporting CPD's investigation and for continuing to pray and support the Tepe family, particularly these little children. I just want to take a moment to express gratitude, grief, and resolve, not only for myself, but for the entire Columbus community. Grateful to the Division of Police for their professionalism and persistence and for their tireless work and collaboration that led to this arrest. You followed the facts and evaluated every credible lead with intentionality, integrity, and care for the victims and their families. I also want to thank members of the community who stepped forward with video footage and tips. Like so many cases CPD solved in 2025, the public helped us work this case. It's a clear example of how public safety is strongest when police and community are working together. I'm encouraged by the cooperation that continues to grow between our police and our residents. I pray this collaboration will help us prevent violent crime from happening in the first place, but it's also a powerful, powerful tool for solving crime when it does occur. The tips that were submitted in this case mattered, and I'm grateful to the residents and businesses who shared information. As Chief described, this was a targeted domestic violence attack that resulted in the deaths of 2 people and irrevocably changed the lives of their children, families, colleagues, and friends. Our hearts remain with Spencer and Monique, their loved ones, and especially the children impacted by this unimaginable loss. As this case now moves through the criminal justice process, we'll continue to respect this investigation and allow investigators and prosecutors to do their work. As Chief said, we will not do or say anything that will compromise the likelihood of a conviction. One thing we can still offer this family is the best possible chance at a conviction and justice for this unspeakable crime. We could also continue to lift up this family in our thoughts and prayers. I will continue to lift up every one of the 84 families that lost a loved one due to violence in 2025. And I know the Chief and the Division of Police will too, in their thoughts and their actions. I know this case has taken on national interest, but I want to tell each of these families, these 84 families, CPD pursues every case with the same intensity, commitment, and resolve. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, sir. We'll take any questions at this time.
Chief, can you comment on a motive in this case? I mean, why did he allegedly kill
She's about to take questions that she will not answer.
Monique and Spencer and also leave the children alive?
At this time, we cannot comment on the motive. Again, part of the investigation.
Did you find any other evidence in this home in Lincoln Park?
What I can tell you is that we did search his property and we have evidence, but I can't speak to any specific evidence.
Can you tell us which police agency arrested him and where he was taken into custody in Rockford?
Sure. This case is a great example of partnerships. So our partners with Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, federal agents, took him into custody very close to his place of employment.
What can you tell us about McKee's whereabouts between the day of the crime and the day he was picked up?
Part of the investigation, unfortunately, as we talked about, we're not able to share specifics, but what we can tell you is that we have evidence that he was there during the time of the actual homicides.
You said there were no signs of forced entry. Are you able to say any more about how he got into the house?
Unfortunately, we're not able to talk about that at this moment.
Is there any indication he had interactions with the kids or the kids may have seen or heard anything at this point?
We don't have that information. Again, part of the investigation, there's just certain things we can't talk about.
Neighbors had said that they had seen McKee in the neighborhood and in front of the Tepe home days before the homicide. Can you confirm that?
At this time, we're unable to talk about specific information, but again, when we get additional information, we'll be more happy to share it too.
So that reporter asked, apparently neighbors have reported seeing him on their street and in front of their house days before the crime. We don't know if that's true, but that's what they're reporting. Did they see the similar car, right? Because the authorities know what kind of car he was in, but we don't know yet. So did they show that to the neighbors and say, have you seen this and this person? They're like, oh yeah, I did.
To the public.
I know this is an ongoing investigation. I don't know if you can say this, but obviously they were divorced. Are you able to say anything about their relationship after that divorce? It was in 2017. Were they civil? I know he had a second wife as well.
Again, there is, the investigation is still ongoing. Just understand, we're still collecting information. We're still going through a lot of evidence, and there's just some things that we can't speak to right now.
Can you talk about
So he did get remarried and he did get divorced, but it's kind of sounding like, outside looking in, preliminary evidence and all the things, it sounds like this man blamed her for every miserable decision he ever made in his life. My second divorce is also your fault. My malpractice suit is your fault. It's all your fault, your fault, your fault. It's never mine.
the extradition? Will you be going to Rockford and pick him up, and when will that happen?
I'll let you speak to that.
Sure. We have policy related to extraditions. Felony warrants out of state are primarily handled by extradition companies. And so the determination of whether or not it will be detectives from Columbus or an outside entity, likely an outside entity, but the logistics are being worked out as we speak.
Any idea when that will happen?
I don't know when that will happen.
What kind of weapons did you find in his home?
We can't speak to specific weapons, but we did recover multiple weapons from the home, from his property.
How quickly was McKee a suspect? I know that family told us they pretty much assumed that he was behind this crime.
What I can tell you is that every piece of evidence, every tip that we received, we immediately began to investigate it. So I can't give you a specific timeline, but any information that came in was immediately evaluated and investigated.
Are you able to say about how many tips you received? Obviously, people became really attached to this case.
Do you know specific numbers?
We don't have, while we don't have an exact number of the amount of tips that came in, because some of them were the same or similar. So it was numerous, and it was from multiple sources, which was greatly appreciated from the community, the media, the past individuals that were knowledgeable and familiar with the family, and then the residents of the area, which ultimately led us to this day right now.
Do you believe that's him in that video?
Sorry. We know digital forensics and DNA play a big role in investigations these days, but it doesn't happen in 60 minutes with commercial breaks. Is there any sense of the timeline of when some of that information will become available to you guys through that testing?
We're continuously looking for information, waiting for information. Unfortunately, we can't give you a specific timeline, but we're continuously working to get that information in.
The family mentioned that Monique previously said that he had been abusive towards her in the past. Was there any evidence or indication of that prior to this incident?
What I can tell you is that we did not have any reports, or we did not have any information related to any type of incidents regarding the ex-husband and Monique.
Can you tell us if McKee and Mrs. Tepe had any contact leading up to this incident, months, weeks?
Any stalking concerns there?
Again, what we can share with you, we are sharing with you. There are some things that we can't share for investigative purposes, but what I can tell you again is that we didn't have any reports or anything linked to that specific location as it relates to the ex-husband and Monique Tepe.
So she obviously never filed anything in the courts, right? No restraining orders, nothing. It would be there. As much stuff has been dug up in this case so far. If there was a restraining order, legit restraining order filed by Monique against him, it would have shown up. It's not there. So she never did that. We don't know why, right? Did his threats never did she ever go speak to somebody about it? And they're like, well, these aren't escalated to the level that would meet the requirement. We don't know anything about that. But think about this, when someone is murdered and they start their investigation and the cops are interviewing family and close friends, what's one of the first questions they're always going to ask them? Did they have any enemies? Was there anybody that they had a beef with in the past? Anybody they had a problem with? And all these people could think of was Monique's ex-husband, because they knew there was something in there, right? Apparently she had discussed it, and so had Spencer. So that's all they knew. They may not even know major details about what went on in their relationship.
Do you believe he's the person in the video that you shared, the person of interest?
We do.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I swear, the immaturity level of people I see these days is really starting to floor me and get on my last damn nerve. Like, I'm a nearly 60-year-old woman, and I think I'm hanging out with a bunch of adults. And apparently, there's a lot of immature children running around the YouTube who don't give a fuck about true crime or victims. You're just out here to have yourself a little fun. Okay? Thanks for the view. Now, be gone, because we're not putting up with it. I'm done with it. It's ridiculous, and I don't have to entertain it, and neither does my audience. So if you aren't here for true crime, you can literally leave. And if you don't want to leave on your own accord, we'll just get you out. It is what it is. Hang on, I got a message I got to check from my kiddo. apparently I got some bad cold weather coming, and my kid's trying to warn me. He's like, Mom, you're going to freeze. I don't even know what's going on with that. Sorry for the sidetrack, y'all. I kind of needed it because I was about to go on a rant. These damn stupid ass immature trolls. You damn 2-year-old babies, take that shit somewhere else. Got nothing better to do. All right, so I'm still stuck on the Nibin hit, guys. Like, I wonder, did he buy one of those weapons off the street? Is there a chance it was ever used in another crime? Because if it was, it's going to match in Nibin. This bullet matches this bullet. Oh boy. You can watch these videos and they can connect one gun to 25 crime scenes based on the ballistics that they've collected and entered into Nibin. So I found that statement pretty interesting. And we don't know how many weapons they recovered from the home either. Now, I was looking at some things this morning. Now, we know that the car, they found was linked to him, and they've made the statement that he possessed it before and after the crime. Was it a rental or his? We don't know yet. But that's what, that's is the way they word it. It makes you think about it, right? And then, of course, the Nibin hit. And there were neighbors who claimed they saw the McKee outside the Tepe home and on their street before the crimes. Now, I looked for that in articles, and I just didn't see it this morning, but that was what was reported by a particular creator. They also had a couple of other sources that they talked about, and I don't know if they're true or not, but we will discuss it because it's an account that's been around for a very long time, and they've always had good information in the past. But they said a source has told them that McKee picked the lock at that house, and that weeks leading up to the crime, the Tepes were having internet connection problems at their home, and were having issues setting their alarm system, the ring, even the door code stuff. Right? Don't know if any of that's true because we still don't know how this guy got into their house without it being a forced entry. Right? I don't know how easy it is to pick locks in a house like that, especially with a keypad and all that. Did the back door even have a keypad? I didn't even look at the back door. So that's another thing. We know he came down the alley, and the authorities did say that they do believe the person in the alley was McKee, right? So did he enter through the back door of the home and pick a lock back there, or whatever he did to get into the home? There's a gazillion theories out there, birthday codes, anniversary codes, all the different things people do to try to guess somebody's code or whatever. But I don't know, would it, are you going to stand there for how long is it going to take you to figure out a code? Unless they use their birthdays and all the things, who knows? So he found a way in there. Another source says that nearby CCTV showed an individual going to the Tepe home at 3:30 a.m. and coming from the home around 4:01. Notice the time of death was 3:52. They pinpointed that. I mean, we don't even have, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know that the keypad locks. I didn't know if the back door had the same type of keypad. It's a little risky to stand on the front porch and pick a lock. I'm just saying. I would have chose the back door, but I don't know if the back door had the same type of keypad or if it was, different. That's all I'm saying. He picked it. I don't care. I don't know how he got in the house. I'm just reporting what I saw. So the CCTV, is that the crime camera right on the corner? Because I still like to know where he parked, because the way he's coming down that back alley, he's coming from, that side, and I'm like, did you park over there? So did he drive past the Tepe home, going down to the next block and park? And that's how they see that car come in. And then when he left, he went right back past the house, which would have passed that camera again, pinpointing those 2 times. We'll have to see if that's the camera that got him. It could have been because, in the a smartwatch, like Dolphin's saying, now there was a medical device in the Bill and Peggy Stevens case. The medical device was in Bill. That's how they knew for sure what his time of death was, right? Because he had his defibrillator. So who knows if they had any kind of technology to hone in on the time. But they are saying specific times about when he was there and when he left. But they did list in the probable cause 3:52, which is very specific, right? That's a very specific time to already know. So there has to be something to indicate that exact time. Oh, I'm sure there's 4 to 5 cameras. That area was being, gentrified. It was all coming back up. So you got some shady parts and some better parts. You're gonna, a lot of people are gonna have a lot of cameras. But that we've seen camera footage from people's houses and your Ring cameras and the grainy and all the things, and it's nighttime. I don't know if a neighbor's cameras will capture a license plate the way the crime camera on the corner would. Because if they, did they just see, a colored sedan or SUV and they're like, oh, well, no, they had to find something about that car to track it back to him. So we've seen grainy footage all over the place from different, businesses, even like we go into the Koberger car. You can tell it's the white colored sedan a lot of times in all the footage, but you never see a tag. There was no way to trace that car directly to Koberger on any of the footage. But this footage was able to do that. So they had to capture a license plate. Or did they capture an image of him in the car? Because you already got the friends saying, we suspect him because he's the only one that we know of that was ever made any comments about trying to hurt these people, right? Or her or anything. So I don't know, Rachel, if that was a gunshot detection on that or not, right? They just installed some of those. I think some parts of the area got those a while back in certain parts of this town. But I don't know if that one, I never heard them say that one had one attached. But if he fired off several blasts inside that house, do y'all think any neighbors heard it and woke up? And then when the cops have obviously began to investigate and talk to the neighbors, they're like, we heard boom, 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 but we didn't know where it was coming from. Are they the kind that would call the police just because you hear gunshots and you don't know where they're coming from? Do you know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, I don't know why they hold those press conferences the way they do. They should just put out their standard answers. We're not taking any questions because then they know what questions are coming. They already knew what questions were coming when they got up there and decided to hold the press conference. All right, so as we were talking about, we know they divorced and everything, and there was something in the filing recently from, I think it was July. Nobody knows what that was, right? Because you can't access the document. It's in their divorce docket. And whatever it was new, popped up June or July of last year. So Brian Enton had a divorce attorney on this morning, somebody he grew up with. But she said it appeared to her like it might have been a mistaken entry into the wrong docket. But it's got his name on it, right? The case number I get could be off to go into the wrong docket. We've actually seen that happen before. But the name is his name. So that's where I get stumped at. We have no clue what that was that popped up on their docket last year. Oh yeah, he probably wore the smartwatch. I mean, that so many people wear them on the regular now, right? You got those rings you can wear. You got your smartwatches. You got your 15 devices, your iPad, your car. Everything's tracking you. Unless you're me, my location's not on. I turn that shit on when I want it. Don't tell me how to do it. I do it like I want. And no, I do not run Wi-Fi on my phone if I do not need to. Like, get out of here. Quit spying on me. But of course, we all leave a digital trail no matter what we do, where we go. We can't get away from it. So that'll be super interesting to see. Well, we know how. Well, never mind. That was a whole other case and a whole other walking up and down stairs versus driving in a car up and down a hill. We're talking about a watch on someone's body. So who knows how they got that information of the time. I'm certain it didn't come from the coroner's office yet or like an autopsy report. They hadn't gotten those yet. So it'd be interesting to see how they did determine that, you know what I mean? As far as that goes. So we know that he, got married to her. They got their divorce. They had no children, all these things. They settled everything and she moved on. The woman literally moved hundreds of miles away to get away. And she did all the things that she was supposed to do. She saw the red flags and she got the hell gone. Everybody's like, why didn't she, people have wondered why she didn't file a restraining order. Here's the thing. Even if he had met the legal standard and she actually filed one, do we all literally think that piece of paper was going to stop this man from walking into that house and doing what he wanted to do? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. How many men, and today's show is about men doing this to women. We can have a whole other separate show on women doing it to men later. Today we're talking about this. How many times have y'all heard stories where that man walks right through that piece of paper, crumbles it up, burns it, and throws it to the ground and goes off and does exactly what he wants to do anyway? And by the time that he shows up at your door and you dial 911 and say, I got a restraining order, and he's at my door, if they can get there to save you, he's already made entry. It's sad that women have to live knowing these kind of men are out there and exist. And then when you find out that they're like that and you try to get away, then they do this. What triggered him, right? Did he always blame her for everything? Now, we know that he had the malpractice stuff pop up. So let me play you something from that. What an attorney who came on and spoke about, who they've been trying to locate this guy, right? And he's like, MIA. MIA. Okay, so let me pull this up. Okay, so this is an attorney speaking about the malpractice suit he was involved with. He wasn't the only one. I've got an article about it too. Got a little more detail about what happened into the why the suit was even brought forward.
The address that was given to us by the surgery group that he worked for turned out to be a fake address. It was an address that doesn't exist.
A search for a doctor now accused in connection with a high-profile double murder right here in Columbus. All of it months before police say he shot and killed his ex-wife and her new husband. It's exclusive information we're uncovering tonight. We're talking nearly a dozen failed attempts to serve surgeon Michael McKee with a malpractice lawsuit out of Nevada. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Rodney Dunnigan.
And I'm Isabel Hanson. The attorney who filed that lawsuit says recent attempts led to fake addresses, questionable state-issued phone numbers, and claims that Dr. McKee had just disappeared. Investigator Lisa Rontola joins us live in studio to break down her findings. Lisa?
Well, months before, police say vascular surgeon Michael McKee killed his ex-wife and her new husband in their Wineland Park home. He was added to a malpractice lawsuit out of Nevada. The lawyer who filed that suit says the normal process to serve Dr. McKee with that suit became very abnormal. In this exclusive interview, Las Vegas lawyer Dan Laird tells me Dr. McKee seemed to have vanished.
Months before walking into a Chicago area courtroom this week, arrested for the Columbus murders of his ex-wife and her new husband.
How serious can these cases be?
They can be very serious.
Vascular surgeon Michael McKee was added to a malpractice lawsuit out of Las Vegas, which claims he failed to train a physician's assistant who injured a patient at Las Vegas Surgical Associates LLP in 2023. Las Vegas lawyer Dan Laird filed the case.
Some physicians who are sued for the first time take it very personally and heavily, and it can be devastating.
But Laird can't say how Dr. McKee responded. Since September of last year, McKee was unable to be found.
Dr. McKee almost really became a phantom, a ghost, if you will.
That's what it seemed like.
In this declaration of due diligence filed with Nevada's Clark County District Court, Laird's process server lists at least 9 times of trying to track down Dr. McKee. He said McKee's address provided by the medical group doesn't exist.
There is no such street. There is no such address.
McKee's phone number, listed with the Nevada Medical Board, led to a fax tone from a fax machine. In October, Laird's team reached out to the other surgeons listed in the case, McKee's former colleagues, for the vascular surgeon's current contact.
What did Dr. Caravella say?
He said he has no idea where Dr. Michael McKee is now, said he just disappeared.
Don't they leave some sort of contact?
So they tend to be highly responsible people. They're not the kind of people who just disappear suddenly. And this was very surprising to us.
With more dead ends on social media like Facebook and LinkedIn, Laird tracked McKee to Rockford, Illinois in November. Repeated phone calls were not answered or returned. He did not know McKee's ex-wife Monique Tepe and her new husband Spencer were shot and killed in their Columbus home in December. And McKee was charged in both murders this month. I told him that this week.
Shocking. If you listed out the people who would likely be to be accused of committing a double homicide, a fully trained vascular surgeon would be at the bottom of my list.
A judge granted the declaration of due diligence in the malpractice case in October. That means McKee can now be served in the malpractice lawsuit with a notice filed in the newspaper. This is only the second time in 12 years. Lawyer Dan Laird tells me he's had to do this. I did try to call the medical group where Dr. McKee worked in Nevada. No one called me back. On your side, I'm investigator Lisa Rontola.
Nobody called me back. Yeah, I'd imagine. So this guy was super evasive. He's like, nope, you're not suing me. Peace out. I'm not giving you. He gave fake addresses, guys, phone numbers as well. I have an article we're going to take a look at. I just checked what my son sent me. I might not be okay. We might have snow, and I'm not down with this shit. Okay, I'm stop it right now, weather. Old man winter. I wished you upon me, and now I want you to go away. Like, I'm freaking out a little bit. I'm about to have a panic attack. Butterfly, I need you. It's like, talk me down. I shouldn't have checked the other weather update. It's going to get severe, and I don't know what to do. Okay. I don't want that mess we had last year. No. Y'all can keep your pretty snow. It looks miserable to me. All right. Let me pull this up, and we'll read it, so I can try to get over my scaredness of the weather. Like, I'm terrified. All right. Let me pull this up and share with you guys. Whew. Okay. He disappeared from the Las Vegas courts. Now, there's a little bit more information in here about the actual suit. Of course, the man arrested was the man arrested for the murder of an Ohio couple appeared to have disappeared from Las Vegas in the months prior, according to court filing, leaving no word of his whereabouts or method of contact after working in the area as a vascular surgeon. Michael McKee is facing murder charges for the December 30th deaths of his ex-wife, Monique Tepe, and her husband, Spencer. And of course, he's still waiting extradition. And I think they actually scheduled his extradition hearing. Where did I write that at? I just saw that before we came on. I think I have it saved somewhere else. Maybe I didn't write it down. Okay. Court records show a medical malpractice suit naming McKee as a co-defendant was filed in Clark County District Court in Las Vegas in 2024. A jury trial is scheduled to begin in July of next year. The plaintiff alleged a physician's assistant performed a procedure for varicose veins in Las Vegas in 2023 when she accidentally broke off several inches of a catheter and left it in the person's body. Now, he was added to the suit for failure to train the assistant. McKee and another doctor were allegedly responsible for training the physician's assistant, the suit argues. They should be held liable for her conduct. A motion filed this past November stated the plaintiff's attorney, Dan Laird, could not find McKee to serve him in the lawsuit. Okay, and we know the rest. The Nevada State Board of Medical Examiners website shows that McKee's license began in March 2023 and expired at the end of June last year. It has been told to a process server that McKee has disappeared and a fax number was provided to the Nevada Medical Board rather than a phone number. So he's out there giving out fax numbers instead of his phone number. Did he think he could hide and go to work in another state as a doctor and they wouldn't? Well, I guess it was hard to find him. I didn't know it was going to be that hard, but I guess they... Y'all don't got any snow expected, butterfly? Why is it just me? That's not cool. If I'm going to get it, by God, the whole Southeast better get it. I'm going to share. They tend to be highly responsible. Okay, that's pretty much saying what he said in the video we watched here. So he's trying to escape this lawsuit. His world's crashing down, right? So is he steadily blaming her for every horrible thing going wrong in his life to the point where he just, it's obvious that he was holding a lot of hate toward her. And I think this man blamed her for every little thing that went wrong. Now, one of the neighbors that live in his building, turns out she is retired and worked for a news agency, and she's written true crime before. And she put her true crime thinking cap on. She's like, hold my beer. She's like, I'm going upstairs and I'm spying on this guy. So we're going to see what she has to say. Okay, she was on Banfield. Yes, we pull up news clips around here and review them. Does that make us not media or just people talking? We're reviewing stuff. Thank you.
First reaction to hearing that this neighbor of yours, who you'd spoken with and thought was delightful, has been arrested on 2 aggravated murders?
Yeah, it's really was a shock to the building and everything, because I met him really once. We really talked at the poolside. And that was during the summer, shortly after he moved in. And we talked at the pool, and he was very friendly. We were all barbecuing at that time, and he did not seem like somebody that would be doing something like this. But like Ashley, like you point out, you don't know what is in a person's mind, what they're obsessing about.
The thing is, he wasn't blaming everyone else, and he was never going to go after the person that sued him. He's got no personal ties to that. He's blaming Mo. And that was what she called herself, for everything wrong in his life. Very, very typical for these type of men. It doesn't matter what he did wrong, what kind of misstep. He could have twisted his ankle walking down the sidewalk. He's going to be like, that bitch bought me the wrong shoes.
And what they're going through in their mind and what causes them to react like this. But I would see him, and we would pass each other. I saw him last week. Going by, and we would just say hi, how are you, hi, and that's it. We never really spoke after that. He was kind of a quiet person to himself, but it is shocking that a resident of this building was charged with such a terrible crime, and residents
I can't imagine. Can I ask you, how did you all even find out? Like, how did the news sort of spread through the building?
Well, I found out because there was Channel 7 crew that was outside there of our building trying to talk to residents. And I walked up to them because I used to work at Channel 7 in Chicago. I was assignment editor. And I said, what's happening over here? What's going on? The doorman says you wanted to talk with me. And they told me about what was happening. And when they said Mike McKee, I said, well, I don't know if I know him. Show me a picture. And then they showed me the picture. And I went, oh my gosh, I know him. He's one of my neighbors. He lives two stories above me in the building here. And I said, why? My goodness, it was unbelievable that this man who he was just so nice when I talked to him. And then, as I said, we would pass each other. This is a building of a lot of professional people, okay? And people that come in.
Speaking of that, I want to let, sorry to interrupt, Geraldine, sorry to interrupt, but I want to let our viewers know that when you say it's a building of professional people, that includes you. Not only did you work at Channel 7 as an...
Yeah, Dolphin, I know he did have... Here's the thing, the golden boy, right? The golden boy the boy next door, that lovely guy. Look at how well he's done his whole childhood. Entitled much? Because you have to give balance to your children. Yes, you want to prop them up and support them and give them all the things, but when you start ignoring their little temper tantrums and everybody else, and this guy played football, he was the guy, right? Yeah, there's a lot of guys like that out there that look real pretty and shiny and good on paper, but they're damn well evil.
Assignment editor,
And I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't grow up in an abusive home himself. And I don't care what his daddy did for a living. I don't care what you do for a living. You can be an abusive man. You ain't got to be some poor ass on the street beating your wife in the dirty ass house. No, it can happen in mansions as well.
also a true crime author. So tell the audience what you did to take a peek 2 floors up where he lived and what you saw.
Well, I went upstairs and I saw a police officer sitting right in front of his door, guarding his place there. And I took a little video. I guess it's the newswoman in me. And I also took a picture of what his apartment looked like from the outside. And I just was surprised that there's a police officer on duty there 24 hours. And then I came up the next day, and there, Lord and behold, I saw that there were now investigators there. And I went to get my car in the garage, and there was an investigation van saying Crime Lab from Columbus. So that is something else that I videotaped right away. And the investigators going to the van. And when I went upstairs, I saw that they were taking boxes of stuff out of there and putting it in there. They had one box and they were putting stuff in there. You know what? It's a very circumstantial evidence thing. You have the digital stuff and so on, but you don't have the firing gun. You know what I mean? That's something that they're looking for. And I'm sure that they're also looking for any messages he had or drawings and things like that.
We're about to do a deep dive with investigators who do this for a living, who are going to run down the list of everything they probably looked for in that apartment and seized, as well as other places as well. But I'd like to just ask you in retrospect, you know, we all look back at things and people when we learn something that's jarring, and then we think, okay, that now in retrospect it's unusual. Was there anything about Dr. Michael McKee that was the least bit unusual or struck you as unusual in retrospect?
No, nothing struck me as being unusual. He was a business person coming in. We'd pass in the hallway. We'd be in the elevator, and I'd say hi, and he'd say hi. We were all tired from working and everything like that. But, you know, the building put out a memo to all the residents. And this is a memo, and it says, good afternoon, residents. Due to an active police investigation involving a resident, you may see and encounter law enforcement officials in and around the building over the next few days. Now, that is what alarmed a lot of residents.
Thank you for watching.
Have people been mistakenly thinking that all these decades of crime that only unintelligent people commit them? Uneducated people commit them? Brian Kohberger would beg to differ. BTK. Rex Heuermann. McKee. It's not new. You know what I mean? It's just shining a light now on these guys. These perfect boy next doors with this perfect stellar career and beautiful on paper. It happens every day, all day. It's not unique to this, right? It's just this shining a light on it. And I think that, you know, people have these, they think of the guy beating the wife as some dude in a, you know, wife beater drinking the beer, and they live in a, I don't know, not middle class world. I mean, are we going to live in that realm where we think it only happens to the unfortunate? You know, if they have money and all the things. Hell, how many football players have been accused of beating on their wives? I think they all went to college. I think they're all worth millions of dollars, right? Yeah, you know, the dude's got a God complex. Look, unfortunately, I had a lot of experience with doctors because of my kiddo being a year in the NICU. And I remember that one day I had to get that one completely out of my face and out of my child's room because you ain't God. Who the hell do you think you are right now? Bye. And in fact, the nurse that had took care of my baby for a solid year was the one who ran him out of the room and went and got her boss and came back downstairs and said, we got a problem. So I'm fully aware. I had to go sit before an entire board at a hospital for them to convince me I should send my newborn baby to an extended care facility in Miami, Florida, hundreds and hundreds of miles away from me, because they said I couldn't do it myself. They were wrong. And the social worker who went to bat for me and fought for me resigned after we won. My child came home with me. My child is now 33 years old and doing amazing. So I am very well aware of the God complex all these doctors walk around with. This guy is what I'm honed in on, right? Fucking Lord. Now, when that lawsuit was brought in Vegas, it was brought against the surgical group, right? And the one who performed the surgery. And then he was added later. So it wasn't like they went after him directly from the beginning. He was literally added to the suit at a later time because of the training part of it. He and the other doctor. Now, Ashley Banfield reported that one of the family members stated that they were told that he had made a death threat against Monique during their marriage, right? Or either during the separation or the marriage, one of the two. But we don't know if that's, that. I'm not saying they would lie about it. If that's what they were told, that's what they were told. But I haven't seen it in print, and I haven't heard the brother-in-law who has been speaking actually come out and say that himself. But I think they did have an indication that was the only person they could think of that would have anything against this couple, right? Because they got asked that question from the get-go. Do you know anybody that would have any grievances with this couple? Anybody. And if all you can think of is that guy she used to be married to, maybe we knew she didn't, she wasn't comfortable and different things. He didn't plead not guilty yet. His attorney literally said he intends to plead guilty once returned to Ohio. He cannot enter a plea in another state for a crime committed in a different state. That I went back and reviewed it 3 times. He did not enter a formal plea. That attorney that was signed to him for that hearing said he intended to enter that plea. Now, whether that's still the case or not, we don't know. But there's no official plea entered into this case yet. He's in the wrong state for all that. That's not what that hearing was for the other day. If you go back and watch it again, I can pull it up. But she said he intended to do that. So, well, most defendants are going to say not guilty, right? Unless they get him back over to Ohio and they show him all the overwhelming evidence they may have. He might change his mind. But initially, hey, I'm not the guy, right? You got the wrong guy. Some other dude did it. That's common. I can't wait to be exonerated. Remember that statement that Brian Koberger allegedly said? I can't wait to be exonerated. How'd that work out for you, bub? So yeah. I don't know what kind of plea. In Florida, you can plead no contest. It's different in every state. Standing silent in Idaho, no contest in Florida, same thing, different language. I don't know what they call it in Ohio, but it wouldn't surprise me, unless he gets there. Now, he's also not going to be found indigent, right? He makes too much money. He's not going to get a public defender. And you can ask for one, but they're going to be like, sir, you make a lot of money here, and on paper, you got the money. You don't qualify for a public defender. So is he hiring attorneys right now? Does he already have one, right? Who's helping him with that? And once they get the discovery and some evidence and they're like, dude, he might change his mind, y'all. He just might. Or he might be like Koberger and say, hell no, we're going all the way to the end with it. And then I'll plead guilty at the end. Give us all a big headache. It's par for the course, these criminals. Of course I didn't do it. I think they all say that. Only a few come out and confess immediately. It might take a few hours, a few days before the confession comes out. It might take a few years before the confession comes rolling out that mouth. I watched a show last night. It took them 10 years to get that one dude to confess he wasn't the only one that killed the man, that the girlfriend was also involved. 10 years, you know? I mean, come on, people. Why hold your secrets that long? Talk to text. I can't stand talk to text. It gets it wrong every time. Oh, my goodness. There's not a whole lot else out there yet about it, guys. I did, let me see, what did I do with, if I saved that article? Because I think I saw it right before I came on about his court date changing. It wouldn't be, it's not that one. Let's see. You know, that police officer, nobody asked her in that press conference how that cop got sent to the wrong address. I would have asked that at least. I would have been like, can you answer this one question? Do y'all know how that happened yet? And are you looking into it? Okay, here, I do have the order, but it's on my phone. I didn't load it. I didn't preload it to the StreamYard, or not StreamYard, Restream. I don't even use that. All right, but I will read it to you guys, and I will post it to the community tab. Okay, so this is in reference to extradition of Michael Keefe, or McKee. Whereas the court has been informed that the transport of Michael D. McKee to Franklin County, Ohio will not be feasible as Monday, or by Monday, January 19th. Okay, so the court date previously set for Monday the 19th at 2 p.m. in courtroom B is stricken. This matter is set for Friday, January 23rd, 2026 at 2 p.m. in courtroom B in the Criminal Justice Center for status on transport. Now, remember, in the press conference, they said they were working on that now, arranging to get him back. So that's not going to happen today. Apparently, they're going to have another court hearing on the 23rd. I don't know why the 23rd, today's just the 14th, right? So we'll see if it happens sooner, but according to this order, it's not going to happen until the 23rd at least. And I'll post this over to the community tab. Let me do that now, because I don't want to forget to do it. Apologize for not loading it up onto the thing here. I forgot. Okay. There we go. So it's on the community tab if you guys want to see it. Yeah, I guess they did realize it. Today's supposed to be some kind of holiday. I don't look at the clocks and the calendars unless I'm forced to. Everybody's like, it's a holiday. I'm like, what holiday is it? I don't even know what month it is half the time. That's a joke. I'm not that crazy. I do keep up with it somewhat. Although daily I do have to check what day is it again, because I just don't care. The things I allow to bother me and the things I choose to allow not to bother me are very strategic. Well, most of the time. Sometimes we can't help the shit that bothers us. Okay. Sorry, I had to check something real quick. Let me check y'all's comments here. Let's see what we got going on. What are y'all saying? Let me pull them up. Okay. Yeah, Jed. They all think they have. Maybe they all think they can hire Alan Jackson. Maybe they saw that and they're like, well, every defense attorney's going to be like that. I can say I'm innocent, and we're good to go. Of course, they all claim it wasn't them at first, right? But some of them will end up breaking. Simi, you rarely know what day it is either. Thank goodness I'm not alone. Thank goodness. Um, yeah, what's the point? I'm enjoying this phase of my life where I don't need to know. Like, it's all good. Who knows, Dolphin? They probably didn't think about it when they said that the other day in court, but then they quickly realized, you know? I mean, I don't know. A facial analysis on him to see if it matches the guy in the alley, because you can't see the guy's face in the alley. Hmm. But I'm interested to see how well they could see that car and if they could see inside the car, right? The person, even capture an image of the person, maybe, possibly. It doesn't matter if you catch him in the car or not. If it's his car, it's his car, right? What kind of evidence is going to be inside the car? Because he had to either take that weapon all the way back with him. Apparently, he had it because they said they found it. Um, so, how close to the victims was he when he shot them? Did he open the bedroom door and shoot from there? Or was he at close range? Did he get anything on him, on his clothes? And did any of that get transferred back into the car? Um, Jed, it hasn't, the police allegedly apparently know something about how he gained entry, but they're not saying. Reports are from another creator that I saw that their source says the lock was picked, but I have no evidence of that. You know what I mean? We simply don't know. Um, but no forced entry is really interesting, right? What does that mean? Was there a window unlocked somewhere accidentally? Did the guy get lucky and go? Did he have a plan to get in case everything was locked up tight? Got to have a plan. Hopefully, maybe not. Just going on a whim. Um, but how did he get in? Was there a basement window that was unlocked and they didn't know? Had he ever been in the house before and unlocked it and himself and snuck out? Who? It's just there's so many unanswered questions yet. But I think all of us know no forced entry. You know, the slider at King Road, no forced entry, but it was unlocked. It doesn't mean the Tepe house was unlocked because I really doubt that it was unlocked. They don't strike me as the kind of people that would not check the doors to make sure they're locked. You got two small kids in there and they seem pretty responsible. So, yeah, we don't know what kind of car he was in yet. They haven't said. Now think about that long trip he took over there because allegedly he was in Zanesville with family for the holidays and stopped in Columbus on the way back to Chicago. So think about all the places that car would be seen between Chicago, Zanesville, Columbus, back to Chicago, right? How many times do you have to stop for gas? Would there be digital hits every place he stopped? Receipts from his bank records, from his debit card where he bought gas, bought food, all those things. Did he have his cell phone or a burner even with him to ping along the way to you know what I mean? And if they can find a receipt that says, oh, he got gas at XYZ station and they go, can they pull that footage? Oh, there he is, right? More, there's going to be a whole lot of digital evidence on this dude. You can turn your phone off, you can get you a burner, you can enter the house through a picked lock or whatever the hell you're doing, but that digital trail is going to tell a whole lot. GPS on the car, very well. What kind of car did he have and what kind of onboard capabilities did it have? Chances are it had some pretty decent capabilities, right? And if it's a rental car, you can't be turning all that stuff off. They're like, what are you doing to our car? You better bring that back, sir. Yes, Simi, we can't assume they don't have evidence. Well, I was hoping they had more than the car. Just a car in the neighborhood. Even if it's his car for 1,000% certain, I hope you had more than just him being in the neighborhood, right? Is that one little piece of circumstantial enough? Um, yeah, yeah. His alibi didn't pan out. They said. Um, who knows? The guy didn't think everything out. Some people, I guess, just kind of do what they do, and then they're like, "I'll figure it out later," and I'll just tell the cops whatever I need to tell them. They're not going to figure it out. I mean, that wouldn't be the first time. Well, Brian Koberger said he was out riding around looking at the moon and the stars. That was real creative, wasn't it? None of these people surprise me with this stuff. Like, it literally just doesn't surprise me anymore. It's kind of par for the course, right? With these criminals. It's par for the course. We should expect it. Every time something happens, we should expect it. My goodness. We have the arrest affidavit sent me, and it literally says we got a car in the neighborhood tied back to him at that point, right? Now we hear there's weapons been recovered from the home and that they were ran through Nibin, and they do have shell casings from the crime scene. They did have that. But they needed to tie it back to a weapon tied to him, and they've apparently done that. So they do have that now. But before, they didn't have that in the probable cause arrest. It really just said we have a car in the area before and after the crimes that that he had possession of. Yes, Zanesville was not far from the Columbus. So I doubt he was. Well, they had to go straight to Zanesville and talk to the family. Was he here? And maybe he did go there. Part of his, in his mind, I'm not doing anything bad. I'm just going to see my family. So he could have went and done that too, and still went to Columbus to do what he did. 50 miles away, that ain't no big deal. That's a sneeze. You can be there in a few minutes. And these guys don't think this stuff through when they're hell bent and determined to go into a home and do what they want to do, right? Even if they didn't really try to cover their tracks that well, and even the ones who thought they did a perfect job, it's just not surprising to me anymore. Well, according to the one source, he didn't leave the Tepe home until like 4:01 a.m. At 3:30, they see this car coming into the Tepe home area. That same car leaves at 4:01 a.m. Time of death 3:52. So I don't know. Tell him what time that dude. Y'all know they're gonna be able to poke all kinds of holes in his cute little story. He's just another guy out there with a cute little story, right? Because he probably could have went home to see the fam, and then when he left there, went straight to Columbus and took care of what his perceived problem was. I guess he thought that would make all the rain go away. Yeah, Simi, that's par for the course too. How many times have we going to hear it? Close to the vest, close. We know standard lingo, right? It's like I don't know why they come out and even do the press conference. Come release statements of facts and be done, but don't take questions if you're not going to answer them, because they know what's coming, and they're going to tell us we can't give you any more information, and we do get it. Because if it's talked about all over the internet, including if they got whatever evidence and it gets out, people, the defense attorneys are going to go after that in a heartbeat. No, a defense attorney, y'all already know, pre-trial publicity. What if all the evidence gets out there outside of a court docket filing, right? Exactly, Dolphin. What if the family's like, no, he didn't leave here till this time, right? And that doesn't jive with what he said. So, I mean, I'm not gonna lie for my family like that. If you come knocking on my door asking, I'm like, what are you asking me these questions about my person for? What the hell they done did? I'm about to tell you the truth on them. Okay, let me adjust my things here so I can see. Um, there's just no telling what all. Oh, Forrest. Thank you, sir. Forrest bought me a coffee. Thank you so much, sir. I'm going to use it. Well, buy me some coffee. Um, actually, I need some more. I need to order. I think I need to order me some stuff up later before this impending storm comes my way. Cause I don't know what's going on. He was very stupid, Dolphin. A lot of these criminals are stupid, right? They think they're smart and they think they've covered their tracks, but it's getting harder and harder to cover tracks, right? And then you go look at those datelines when you're falling asleep and you're watching them like me and Butterfly do. 30 years later, they're still trying, they're now solving cases that are old because the detectives collected evidence back 30 years ago that contained DNA, right? And oh boy, it's getting touchy out there on this DNA stuff. And we're going to dive into that in the Rex Heuermann case. They're like, yeah, you got a right to collect our garbage because that's abandoned. But literally, he did not abandon that DNA on the pizza crust. Still belongs to him. Um, what? It's like y'all are fixing to try to change it now. So they're going to fight and say, oh, you can go get that garbage all day long, but you can't test it for DNA. I bet Koberger's paying attention to that when he's like, damn, I should not have signed that deal where I couldn't appeal. He couldn't fight that IGG. I haven't eaten yet either. Well, that's not true. When I was up at 3 o'clock this morning, I was getting kind of hungry. So about 4, this Southern girl had to make her a bowl of grits, and they were good. So I probably do need to go eat something else here in a few minutes. Yes, thank you, Simi, for that. We appreciate that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And also, think about this, guys. Going to the wrong house for those cops was huge, because the fact that the friends had to make entry into that home, the minute they stepped inside that home without law enforcement there, guess what just happened? The crime scene became contaminated. It's not their fault. They knew they heard babies crying and they needed to get into that house, and these damn cops weren't helping. So we got in there and went straight to the babies and straight into that room. Did anything get trampled on in the process? Say he's coming down that back alley. We can see there's snow on the ground. What stuck to the bottom of his shoe? Was there any tread in the home? Footprints in the home? Any of that, right? Who knows what could have been preserved that could have really mattered. And in the end, how much does it matter? Probably still recover a lot. But just the fact that they allowed that big mistake to happen is something a defense attorney could have a field day with, right? Fried shrimp for lunch, Simi. Lord. Ooh, yum. Yeah. You just made me also want fried oysters at the same time. Like, this one place in town has amazing seafood. But maybe a little too rich for my blood today. We'll see. We'll see. Guys, I'm probably going to come back in a few hours and do another show because there's some other cases I want to get to. My brain can't just stick to one at a time. I try to collect all the good stuff we can, but the stuff going on in the Heuermann case is big, and I wanted to go over it. We have all that information on Busby. I've got his PCA. I've got all of that stuff. The little video he put out that TMZ obtained. It's kind of, what are we doing here? These Hollywood kids, and I don't live out there. I would never send one of my kids out there, and I would never, ever allow one of my children to be alone on a movie set with a bunch of damn adults I did not know, right? I was watching the Judds, a documentary last night when I couldn't go back to sleep. I turn it on and I'm watching it because I love Winona Judd. Like, that's my girl. Don't come for her. And so nobody can sing like her. But Ashley, the youngest one, when she was 14, they sent her off to Japan unescorted for modeling. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Why are we sending young, unescorted girls? No. The send you what on Discord, hun? The PCA from the Busby stuff, or which? Let me know what you're talking about. And Plunder's got a lot of info, and I actually had to go to her Patreon a couple times to get a few things. She let me know that yeah, I'm fully, the girl's on it. She's on it. But there are some things that she's also been able to collect as well. But I have all the documentation. Yeah, actually, I was looking at her really good last night, and I thought, man, she's not looking as bad as she once did. She's looking a little better. But yeah, well, that's that vein stuff coming out in you, right? Them Hollywood types. Now look, we're learning that Nick Reiner, with his late diagnosis of the schizophrenia stuff he had, got put on medication and apparently was doing beautiful on the new medication. One thing bothered him, the weight gain. You mean you were finally doing well and you might have been off your drugs and your natural body, like your father's build, came back to you? And that was a problem in Hollywood. Nope, I like that skinny drug body better. Let me tell you, I've been skinny my entire life and it ain't been fun. I've had to hear it all my whole life. I'm going to take you home and feed you. Like my parents didn't. Like, what's up with all this stuff? Stop it. But yeah, he apparently didn't like the weight gain, so he wanted his medicine changed, and they said, okay. Okay. You squirreled, that's okay, I do too. What do you mean? What do y'all mean? I squirrel? What does that even mean? Cornbread recipe. Yes. like sometimes I don't follow y'all's conversations. I'm like, what are y'all even talking about? um, oh, you're good, Rach. A couple of my mods are they're multitasking, so they're kind of in and out. Y'all are good. Y'all do what y'all got to do. Um, I think it'll take a long time to dive into some of that Rex Heuermann stuff, so I don't know if I'll do that tonight or in the morning. Do you guys want to come back later and talk about one of those cases? Which ones would y'all like to talk about? I don't even know if anybody really cares about what's going on with that Busby dude, but I think it's sick, and I think it's gone on for a long time. And he claims that, you know, this family is just out to get him because he fired their child or whatever. I got to scroll all the way up. Oh, I got y'all. Okay. I miss my granny's cornbread. She's not here to make it anymore. And it doesn't quite taste like granny's. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't. I'm like, I really want some so bad that my granny cooked. There's actually a few things that she used to cook me all the time that I've really been missing lately. I'm like, I want my comfort food. I want the comfort food. The private transport. You talking about for the to bring for the extradition? Jen says, I was just eating homemade cornbread. I've been listening. Y'all gonna make me want to go cook some damn cornbread. And I ain't trying to cook stuff today. Not like involved anyway. Give me the simple. Give me the simple. Okay, I gotta check my kiddos reaching back out to me again. Oh, okay. Got it. So Rex Heuermann's case, guys, they want discovery. The defense team in Rex's case wants discovery on another serial killer in the area. Because they're like, he might be responsible for some of these bodies y'all are trying to blame over here on Rex. He didn't do all of them. There's some really interesting things about to happen in that court case as far as the DNA evidence, the types of information they let into the courtroom, all of that. They're challenging like over 20 search warrants. It's crazy. Snowy in Chicago, perfect for comfort food. Yeah, I got scared when I read my local weather report a few minutes ago when my son decided to clue me in because he knew I wasn't going to check. he knew Mama's not even going to know this is coming. I better warn her. Um, yeah, cold weather advisory in effect from 1 a.m. until 9 a.m. for tomorrow morning. Very cold. Wind chill as low as 13. Holy cow. Yeah. Wind chill values can lead to hypothermia. I'm not going outside. My pet will be inside with me. Oh, goodness. Possible snow. Deviled eggs are always good. That's a quick, easy thing to fix as well. Forrest says that cornbread isn't a thing here, but it sounds good. Oh, man, we all got to make some and ship it over to Forrest. We do. How much does it cost to send him some cornbread, and can we keep it fresh? Yes, Jen, I'm in Florida. I'm scared. A couple days ago, I was complaining because Florida forgot that it was winter and it was just so hot and muggy here. And I'm like, just cool off a little bit. Come on, winter, just a little bit. And winter's like, okay, girl, we heard you. You getting it now. It felt good the last couple of nights, but dang. Y'all keep it for yourselves and don't send it my way. We're Florida, man. We're the Sunshine State. But now I'm nervous. But it's all good because I can stay in the house and stay warm. Hush puppies and cornbread are very different where I'm from. Very different. A hush puppy goes with your fish and it tastes different than the cornbread. Y'all aren't even that cold there, Rach, in Idaho. I'm gonna beat Rachel in the weather department. Lord. Y'all message me and check in on me tomorrow night. Salty, are you froze to death yet? Don't go outside. It must be gonna get really super windy. This cold front moving through. It is what it is, right? We can't stop it. Y'all are gonna be 12 degrees. Yeah. So for all those people who sat around and complained in the summer, I can't wait for winter to come. You happy now? That's what I always say to people. Like, I don't complain during the summer. It's going to be very extremely rare if you hear me complain in the summer because I love to complain in the winter. And I don't want to complain about both because then I'll be that old person that complains about everything. And I'm just not down with that. Like, I don't like being a complainer about everything. And why would I complain about the weather year round? That's ridiculous. Some folks prefer the heat and some folks prefer the winter. And hey, that's okay. Jambalaya. You're not a fan? My grandfather used to make the most amazing gumbo. Seafood gumbo. Oh. Y'all got to stop talking about food because you're going to have me thinking about 50 different things that I want to eat. Simi says, hey, Northerners, your weather is drunk in Florida. Y'all need to come get it. Please come get it real quick. Please, my God. I guess if it snows again here, I'll take a little video for y'all. I'm like, look, we got snow in Florida again. It snowed here when I was growing up several times, but nothing like, a few hours, and that was it. And then last year we had that 3-day snowstorm, like literally 3 days of snow. It was insane. My snowman stayed together for a long time. I was proud of him. Me and the grandbaby went outside and built snowmen in the backyard, and yeah, he stayed there for a while before he finally melted away. And then my childhood memories came back of when I felt bad for Frosty for melting. I was like, oh man. Yep, drip your faucets, all the things. I don't want to wake up to busted pipe and no water, Rach. That would suck big time. You definitely got to let your pipes drip. For sure. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up for now. Go make me some food now that y'all got me wanting food, and do all the things. And I will plan to come back in this evening and talk about this other case, so we can get some of this off our case plate, so to speak. So as other developments come down and other cases we're covering, we can stay on top of things. Hush puppies with malt vinegar. People make it with beer around here, Tricia. They use beer a lot. I don't care for it with the beer, but they do. Like, y'all ever had little corn fritters? Kind of like a hush puppy with corn in it? That's good. I prefer the heat and humidity. Born and raised Florida girl from, yeah, it ain't, you can't take it out of me. I guess that's the thing about, the regions we live in and what we all like. I got one of my kids who just loves winter. That's my winter baby though. He was born in December, and it didn't take me but about a month to realize I think this little kid likes it cooler. And as I'm like, I'd never had a winter baby before him. And I don't know. I always thought he's gonna be freezing or whatever, and he's like, "No, I'm good." And to this day, he loves the cold weather. And I'm a summer baby. I was born smack dab in the middle of summer. Bring it on. I can go outside and have all kinds of fun. I ain't got to sit in the house, and you can't go outside in the winter unless you go skiing and shit. We don't do that here in Florida. Even with the amount of snow we got, we couldn't have skied if we tried. That would have been comical. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go try to get me some food. Y'all go get y'all some food. Everybody do their thing, and we'll come back on tonight if you guys want to come hang out with us. I'd appreciate it. If y'all don't mind, hit the thumbs up. The trolls came in and gave us a little bit of a watch time and a view, so we appreciate that as usual. And if you're friends with the trolls, tell them thanks. Tell them thanks. We appreciate it. And I'm going to be making sure that this community stays a nice, chill community. And the next time they pop in, they will be gone immediately, because we're just not putting up with that immaturity around here anymore. All right, guys, y'all go have a great couple hours. I'll see you back here in a little while. Keep your notifications on, and I'll be back soon. Bye.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from little Yas to each of you.